My wife and I recently hit millionaire status. Woohoo! Crack the champagne. And I'm aiming for financial independence by 42. Currently 36. First child on the way. Congratulations again. You guys are killing it. In a good sense. I hope that's not misconstrued. Retirement was already covered when I turned 59.5. Oh my goodness, you guys are so dialed in. It's not even funny. We've maxed out the 401k, S&P index, and RERA, VOO, converted to MicroStrategy Tesla since our 20s. I'm not sure exactly what that means since our 20s, since 2020s perhaps. Now I'm focused on bridging the 17-year gap from 42 years of age, 2030, to 59.5 years of age, 2047. I've built a 450k Freedom Fund cocktail, cost 200k, allocated 36.5% to Bitcoin, 31.3% to MicroStrategy, 25.3% to Tesla, and 6.9% to Sol. I'm also DCA-ing, which is DCA on steroids, 70,000 a year into Bitcoin, Tesla, and Sol, while I continued to max the 401k. My FI number is 3.5 to 4 million. I guess that's the end game to get to that $4 million mark. And as I say as well, it sounds depressing. When I was a kid, a millionaire was something significant. In today's world, depending on where you live, it's not that much. So I like the way you're thinking in terms of 3.5 to 4 million. Does this strategy make sense? Would you recommend reallocating or rotating once the goals are achieved? And the goal is to reduce work to 3 days a week, spend more time with family. I love this idea. I love the way you plan. I love the way you think. I love your asset allocations. One thing, you can never be sure that anything is forever. Bear that in mind. So when you have allocations like this, anything can go to zero at any time, or anything can change, or a new competitor could come along for any of those assets mentioned. So I always say, tap dancing shoes. But let's look very quickly at where you are. Now, I didn't model this extensively, but conservatively, again, sandbag numbers, your 200k turned into 450k, and I reckon that will be worth 2.86 million by 2030. Nearly 3 million, not as high as your 3.5 to 4 million goal, but getting up there, and you have other assets that are growing too. So this is based on your allocation of 36.5% Bitcoin. It's about 1.56 Bitcoin. By 2030, each Bitcoin will be worth at least $890,000. What did I miss there? The MicroStrategy will go to about $1 million. Tesla will go to 560. You only have 280 shares of Tesla. I definitely think about getting to that magical 300 number plus. Get to 300, then get to 500, then get to 1,000 if you can. That's going to be a game changer. We'll talk more about that later as well. And Solana, you're very light on Solana. And technically, you could argue you're very heavy on Bitcoin because you have Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. So basically, they're 67, you're 2/3 Bitcoin, basically. I'd go heavier in Tesla and heavier into an alt of some sort. Now, the question you have is, what could you do conservatively? So all my retire on models, by the way, we're working on a web-based one for everybody to play with themselves. Hopefully that will be done soon. But if you want to, a lot of the questions that are coming in today is, how do you borrow and live off appreciation? Or how do you borrow against your Bitcoin? Or how do you take your income, convert it into Bitcoin, let it grow, and then sell it to live? We'll cover a bunch of that today. But just, again, super high level. Assume you have a very conservative interest expense. That would be 4% interest. And you have a very conservative 6% appreciation on your assets. That's about $171,000 a year. Your interest is about $85,000 at 4%. And your net appreciation will be $85,800. And as I always stress, the most important thing when it comes to saving for retirement, etc., is controlling the burn. You've got a new baby on the way. There's a lot of expenses involved with that. But really, if you can find a way to cover your living expenses, a low mortgage interest, low cost of living, no $20,000 vacations, all that type of stuff, you can very easily live off 85,000. And that's assuming a very conservative 6% appreciation on assets, which of course, as I say, if you're not making 14% a year, you're not treading water. So I think you're in very, very good shape. Keep on stacking, focus on reallocations, and you can do so much more as well, which we'll get to in a second. So great work, you guys. And we'll do a lot more of this as how you can buy, borrow. And last week, by the way, was foundational for the crypto space because every big bank in the United States is going to want to offer crypto services, crypto payments, crypto custody, borrowing against your crypto. It's going to be insane. We are here. We have arrived. SAB 121 is dead, which is wonderful. But we'll be doing a lot more of this going forward as to finding the optimal outfits to work with and loan to values and all that type of stuff. Now, this next question dovetails into this question. As usual, the community thinks along one dimension every single week. It's incredible.